For nearly 5 decades, Voyager 2 has drifted silently through the vast darkness of interstellar space, an emissary of human curiosity, traveling farther from Earth than any machine in history. Its transmissions, though increasingly faint, remain consistent over the years. Data on particles, plasma, and cosmic rays, exactly what scientists expected from a spacecraft coasting through the outer limits of the solar system. Voyager 2 was never programmed to capture an image. Not a visual glitch, not a corrupted artifact, but a structured high-frequency signal that, when decoded, formed what analysts are now calling a visual cipher. At first, it appeared meaningless, nothing more than a dense cloud of thermal noise, like static on an analog television. But after layered enhancement and time-filtered analysis, the image began to resolve not into a planet, not a star, and not anything identifiable within our solar system. What emerged was something else entirely, something that appeared to be looking back at us. As researchers delved deeper into the data, the image became more disturbing, not because of what it revealed, but because of what was missing. Subtle light distortions hinted at gravitational lensing, suggesting that the object wasn't just observing, but actively bending the fabric of space around it. The signal that carried the image was accompanied by a brief surge in radiation, a momentary shift in Voyager's orientation, and a drop in system stability, as if something had reached back. The image extracted from the transmission defied known astrophysical phenomena. It wasn't a single frame, but a layered sequence, multiple overlapping impressions of the same object at different moments, suggesting a capture. Analysis of the metadata revealed overlapping timestamps, looping pixel regions, and resolution shifts in fractal patterns. The conclusion: this was not a traditional image. It was a multidimensional event encoded into a two-dimensional signal. At the center was a monolithic structure, sharp-edged and possibly symmetrical, and suspended in a void devoid of stars. It was not spinning. It was not moving. It was still, as if waiting for Voyager 2 to pass near enough to see it. And then the probe's signal degraded, not gradually but instantly, as if the act of observation had triggered a reaction. Simultaneously, Voyager 2 recorded a sudden and inexplicable increase in local plasma density. At the heliopause, the outer boundary where the sun's influence ends, plasma density should be minimal. Instead, instruments measured a concentrated wall of charged particles 10 times denser than any previous reading. The most alarming detail wasn't just the density, it was the temperature. This plasma was not stellar hot, but artificially hot. The kind of heat produced not by nature, but by containment. By design, it was as if something had constructed a membrane at the edge of our solar system. Not to keep something out, but to keep us in. And then Voyager captured something else, a response. A pulse of energy traveling toward the probe at impossible speed, only to vanish inches before impact, as though the void itself had recoiled from our attention. But what followed was even more unsettling. A stream of binary data appeared in the telemetry logs, initially assumed to be corrupted. But when passed through advanced pattern recognition algorithms, the data resolved into complex self-replicating geometric formations. Some researchers suspected compression artifacts. But then a mathematician recognized something deeply familiar: the structures mirrored biological patterns found in Earth's deep-sea organisms, specifically cephalopod neural networks and certain coral growths. This wasn't random. It was lifelike, encoded biological geometry embedded in electromagnetic language. Even more chilling, within the loops of the pattern were irregular breaks, deliberate distortions suggesting syntax, as though the message had grammar, a language. And then something unprecedented occurred. When researchers recreated the pattern in a controlled simulation, it began to adapt, not metaphorically, literally. The code responded to environmental variables. It evolved. It learned. Voyager 2 hadn't just captured a warning, it had transmitted a seed. As global space agencies worked urgently to decipher the image and accompanying signal, one final anomaly surfaced. Voyager 2's trajectory had suddenly changed. Despite being far beyond any known gravitational influence, the probe had shifted its orientation, adjusted by exactly 3.2 degrees, just enough to realign its high-gain antenna toward an uncharted region of space. Then a second image arrived. This one was simpler, a glowing ring of light expanding outward from the monolithic structure. With each transmission burst, the ring grew exponentially. NASA immediately cut the live feed. Public databases were purged, but not fast enough. Several independent observatories managed to intercept faint echoes of the transmission, and they noticed something extraordinary. The object Voyager image was now emitting a signal of its own, a new frequency, one that mirrored the golden record Voyager carried from Earth. But this time, the message was not from us, it was to us. And the voice behind it, though not human and not synthetic, was disturbingly familiar, like an echo we'd been hearing all along, woven into the background noise of the cosmos, unnoticed since the dawn of our species. As astrophysicists studied the second image and its expanding ring of light, another anomaly surfaced, gravitational lensing, but not from any visible mass. The curvature of space was centered not on a celestial body, but around empty coordinates, a hollow gravitational field with no known source. Some scientists speculated that the space surrounding the probe had become non-Euclidean, warped in ways that defied conventional three-dimensional logic. This was not the kind of spatial distortion typically seen near black holes, but something far stranger: engineered space. Artificial corridors, wormholes, or hidden passageways carved between dimensions. The most unsettling part: the distortion wasn't drawing Voyager in. It was following it, as if something was crawling just beneath the fabric of reality, keeping pace, mirroring its position across a plane invisible to us, yet somehow exposed by Voyager's presence. Soon after, Voyager 2 experienced an unexpected shift in orientation. NASA engineers noticed something that sent chills through the room. The probe was responding to its own signal. Buried deep within the binary stream were data segments being echoed back in real time, as if the transmission had encountered something reflective and returned. But Voyager 2 was never designed for two-way communication in deep interstellar space. There is nothing out there for it to hear. And yet its onboard systems were reacting to the feedback loop as though engaged in a dialogue. What began as a 12-hour delay soon shortened to 9 hours, then 6, then 3, until the response came before the original signal had even been sent. A chronological impossibility. Either data was being returned from the future, or more alarmingly, the probe had synchronized with a system existing outside of time altogether. Under pressure from internal whistleblowers, a small group of civilian cryptographers was granted limited access to Voyager's original image logs. What they found transformed scientific curiosity into dread. Hidden within the framing layers beyond the visible spectrum was a code structure so compact, so deeply recursive, it resembled quantum entanglement encryption. Simply put, the image could not be decoded without affecting the original signal. Each attempt to analyze it triggered minor system failures, software crashes, data corruption, and, in one instance, even hardware malfunction. It was as if the signal was defending itself.